council regular meeting. This is September 26th, 2023 at 6 p.m. We're in the Public Works Building. We're going to call the roll. Yes.
Mayor Miller,
Yes, here.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton. Here. Mr. Welly.
Here.
Mr. Wolf.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to stand for our invocation. Pledge allegiance.
Well, thank you again for this opportunity to assemble ourselves, Lord, and we receive your will directing this government, our nation, this community. Ask you, Lord, to forgive us our trespasses and draw us closer to you. And ask you that everything we do and say would be pleasing you in Christ's name and pray, Father. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, mayor's comments. When you sit and think about what you want to say to people, your supporters and those that may not support you, you want to let them know that you're here for everybody, and I am here for everyone. And I don't care what your thoughts are about, or your feelings are about me. I am truly here for our city and trying to do the right thing. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to be better and better and better together. So we're just going to keep moving on. And I'm going to open it up now for citizens' comments.
Rob Cruz, Colorado Drive. First thing I want to say, hey, thank you for putting on the Music in the Park. Chris, I don't know how much you were involved in that, 'cause it's been going on. It's a shame it rained last Thursday. We got one more to go, but it's been a really good time there. The other thing I want to say, I've been sitting here shutting my mouth for the last several months, biting my tongue, and I'm fed up with it. I come here, I've been coming to these council meetings before the hurricane. Coming here, it's me and Lisa, and maybe 3 other people in this room. There's never been people until just a few months ago. I come here to show support for everybody, from Julie to all the department heads, Pammy, everybody sitting here to the city. I look at the agenda, I go through the agenda, I read it, I do research on it, I come up here to make comments on it. What I'm damn sick and tired of is sitting here for an hour listening to you guys beat the horse to death. Beat the horse to death. I'm fed up with it. I wish people would just come here and talk about the agenda and city items. Enough is enough already. Thank you.
Thank you. Other citizens? Yes, ma'am. Can you state your name and...
Yes, my name is Jerry Parker, Beacon of Bay County. I just wanted to go over the charter that states the mayor's responsibilities. Okay, because there seems to be some discrepancy regarding that.
Yep.
The mayor, elected as aforesaid, shall be a voting member of the council and presiding officer. The mayor shall be recognized as head of the city government for all ceremonial purposes by the governor for purposes of military law, for services of process, execution of contracts, deeds, and other documents, and as the city official to represent the city in all agreements with other governmental entities or certifications to other governmental entities. The mayor shall be the chief elected administrative and financial official for the city. The powers and duties of the mayor shall be such as conferred upon him or her by state laws in this charter and by the city council. Also, I know that the charter committee has been meeting. The charter, if it's to be changed, has to go to referendum. Then it has to go on the ballot for the next election season. So if you're going to change a charter,
Excuse me. Order, please. Thank you. I'm sorry.
it's okay. If you're going to change the charter, that's fine, but it goes to referendum, and the people have to vote on it. Thank you.
My name is Jody Moore. I'm also with the Beacon of Bay County, Florida, and we're going to beat the dead horse.
Might as well.
Okay.
Excuse me, no comments, please.
Um,
Just let the people talk.
Jerry, we both live in or near Lynn Haven, so we've kind of been through corruption and watching corruption and so forth. And she also served on the charter committee over there, so just she knows what she's talking about when it comes to the charter. So why am I here? Because I'm from Lynn Haven. I was born in Panama City, Florida, Bay Memorial Hospital in 1968. I'm a native Bay Countyan, and I helped pay into the FEMA funding that has helped rebuild this city, $100 million. That's why I'm here. I have every right to come here and speak, so I don't want to hear anybody say I don't have the right to come here. There was information released last night from WHG and the Bernie Thompson Show about a sworn statement interview from Marie Maddox's office and this city's former accountant, Mrs. Lucas. I'd like the council to address some of the statements. Ms. Lucas started working for Mexico Beach in June of 2023, from what I understand. She was supposed to be the finance director. She says she only got partial access to the software. How could she do her job? She had no access to payroll. Michael, who was the former assistant administrator, told Miller he would try to give her access, then told Lucas, "We're not giving her access. We'll give her partial access." Michael told Lucas to stay away from the mayor, who was the CEO, CFO of the city. And of course, this is what Lucas is saying, but it's a sworn statement that she gave under oath. Miller does not have full access in spite of people who continue to get up here and say that she does. Clearly, she does not. Lucas said in her contract she was supposed to report to the mayor and to Michael, or the city administrator, but was not allowed to report to Miller. Why? Debbie told Lucas that Michael wanted to give an accounting report at a council meeting. But Debbie said that Doug Baber didn't want anything to look negative, so Doug instructed Debbie to transfer money from one line to another to make it look good, and then as soon as the meeting was over, she would transfer it back. It was from one line item to another line item. Lucas herself got is ethically wrong. She wasn't allowed to look at credit card statements. Lucas also says that Miller was always cordial to and kind to the employees, despite what some are trying to say. That was what Mrs. Lucas, her experience was. Mrs. Lucas was supposed to be the city accountant and never got full access to the financial records according to her. Why not? And does that make any sense to anyone? How can you do a job as an accountant if you don't have access to the records? This is why Miller filed her lawsuit, and I'm very glad that she did. I don't think Mayor Miller needs to resign or be recalled, but some of you others might need to. Thank you.
John Harrell, 43 First Street. I don't want to talk about the lawsuit. I don't want to talk about the council. I don't want to talk about the mayor. I want to talk about the fire chief.
Run, Sandy, when you can.
He was sleeping.
I woke him up.
I want to thank Sandy, and I want to thank the fire department. You guys have lowered our rate, or what is it, now down to 4?
ISO from 64.
Yes, 6 to 4. Sandy said if we presented this to our insurance company, we'd get a discount. Sandy doesn't lie, almost 2%. So I want to commend you and the fire department for lowering that ISO rate.
So you need to see that, turn to the camera and tell that to everybody, and we'll all call our insurance.
Sandy, the fire department lowered our rate. The insurance company gave us almost a 2% discount. Haven't seen the money yet, but they sent us a notice. So thank you, Sandy. Thank you, fire department.
And I usually don't try to comment on comments, but thank you, Mr. Harrell. We all laughed and we all applauded and we all together. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mary Kenny, and I live on Cockles. I have a couple of short questions. First of all, One does relate to the article that was released the other day, and I was wondering, since Ms. Lucas is no longer the accountant, who is?
We do not have one yet.
You do not have one? Okay, so then that actually answers my second question. And the other thing I wanted to state that having worked on government projects for the last 25 years, government-funded projects all over the United States, I know a lot about appropriated funds and how they're supposed to be tracked. And I don't believe that you can kind of get around it. You're not supposed to take something from one line item and put it in another line item and then move it back later. And is there any verification that in fact it has been moved back? And when you do have appropriated funds, they have to be used for what they're appropriated for. So I have another question is, I understand there were some FEMA funds for a walkway across the canal at Highway 98. Is that true?
We've got a walkway going in from
15th Street.
15th Street.
On 15th
Yeah,
Street.
and
Is
it's
that going ahead?
by the state,
On the
yes.
agenda
It's on
tonight.
the agenda tonight.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
talked
notice
about
that. And, there was one other thing. Well, I can't remember what the other thing is, but at least you answered the questions. And I think audits are a good thing, and appropriated funds are something to be handled very specially. I sat in a room with federal investigators from the OIG in regards to the same sort of thing going on at Tyndall. So, it's good that it's being looked into too.
And on that note, I'll go on and make a comment too. The letters to the senator and the representative for our local government here has been sent to them. So when we hear back from those letters, if they'll write us a letter to JLAC, then we'll move forward with that type of product. If not, we'll bring it back to the table. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Nancy Viejo. I live in Seclusion Beach in Panama City Beach. Been a resident since 1992. I am a precinct committee woman for the 9th precinct at the beach, and I'm running for the state committee woman position for next year. You know, Bay County, the whole county is watching. It's not very becoming what has happened here. And civility needs to be in place. Whether you're, you know, she was elected, okay? You have to give her some ground. And vice versa, I'm sure. But you're kind of the laughingstock of the county right now. And that is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the citizens here. It's not a good thing for our county. There's enough going on around town that has to be changed. And I just wanted to say those things because we are all watching and we're hoping that you can all make it work.
Diane Kenny, Kim Cove. There's a couple things I want to say as well. In case some of you don't know, Ms. Miller still has a cease and desist against 3 of our councilmen in place right now. So my question is, are you telling our citizens that you have a gag order on them and that they cannot discuss anything unless you agree with it here at these meetings? Because that was a concern of mine. I'm a little confused over that, actually. And the way I understand it, too, the lawsuit against the City of Mexico Beach and our city council, this lawsuit is not being paid by our insurance company now. Some people don't know that yet. But basically, it's because you're suing yourself. And the city, the attorneys have to defend us. So we are going to have to pay for that. One of the things that I was always worried about, and a lot of other people were too, after Michael hit, we were very vulnerable. You know, there were a lot of people coming and going, mostly going. We always worried about a big developer coming in here, building high rises, turning us into a Destin, you know, a big town like that, which we never wanted. I hope that's not what the intent is here. While you're up there, trying to get rid of our council people, quiet them, that's what you're doing. It's a cease and desist. Why would you do that? Anyway, so that's what I'm a little worried about. I've got another letter I want to read from Jackie Rogers. It was about the meeting yesterday. I really did not expect to have any comment on today's 7-minute 15-second meeting called to address hiring of legal counsel. Ms. Miller, in this public meeting, you stated that Ms. Hamilton apparently did not know about today's special called meeting. A quick public records request revealed she was notified in the same manner as the other council members. This remark was another attempt by you to divide the city residents and insinuate something nefarious was done in not notifying Ms. Hamilton about the meeting. Once again, your statement was not true. You need to issue a public retraction that you were in fact wrong and were unprofessional in making the statement, and you owe Tammy, as per the PRR, she is the one who sent out the notification, a public apology, for insinuating she did not do her job correctly. Your veiled attacks on city staff are simply unacceptable. You state you are an honest person, you should be trusted to lead as mayor of MB, yet your actions continue to show the opposite is true. Perhaps you should verify the facts before you make statements for which you are clearly uninformed. I appreciate Mr. McCahill's remarks regarding his conflict of interest in representing the city in this manner. Ms. Miller, please resign as mayor of Mexico Beach.
I would
Thank
like
you.
to address your comment regarding.
It's not mine. I read that.
Well, would you like to?
You can address
Go
it.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Anyway, as you can tell, I have a fractured shoulder. And so Sunday night was a rough night for me.
I understand.
Didn't wake up until late Monday. Didn't read the email that came in at 8:28 for an 11 o'clock meeting. That's why I was not there at the meeting. That was the way I was informed of the meeting.
And I will address this too. And I asked Tammy if this was put on. I didn't even see it until 10 minutes before we had, it was a call meeting, and people have lives.
You didn't
We
see
did
it,
things
but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Well,
It wasn't sent
there's a
out.
lot
That
of
was
things
her
that-
point.
are said that perceptions are different.
Hey, Tim King, Kathy Lane. You know, I know y'all don't like to see me up here, but you do have to listen. You know, we talk about, I've read so much and heard so many people talking about how you're costing the city money, you know. You know, and I look back, and I've been here many years, and I look back and I think about things that cost the city money. You know that our ex-mayor gave himself a contract for $140,000 to tear down the old Parker House, which burned, which I was told because of an electrical fire, which is funny because it didn't have any power to the building, so I don't know what happened, but $140,000. And then when he left office shortly thereafter, he came to a meeting and threw a total fit because he wanted another $40,000 because he was shortchanged. Also, he complained about paying their fair share of the debt ratio on the water and sewer systems because he had too many lots. He didn't want to pay that, so, you know. So if you want to talk about somebody that costs you money, then that's what you do. Also, this last week, I photographed incidences in this town of employees of the city doing work on private property with city trucks, vehicles. I saw, and of course, Mr. Hubbard told me, thought he was going to be bright and say, oh, isn't it kind of Mr. King to point out that the employees are working hard? Yeah, they were working hard. 3 of them had their pockets, hands in their pockets, standing there doing nothing. 1 guy was doing work on the bucket truck. And where was that? Happened to be at Mr. Smith's next door neighbors. And now he has a sign in his yard saying his neighbors love him, no doubt. I have to pay for labor. I don't know about y'all, but nobody wants to do this, to own up to it. Tommy said, oh no, there's never work done on private property. It's always on easements. I have photographs. And I made sure I took the photographs down the line so you can see that they're 20 feet past the poles. They're in there. Matter of fact, the 3 employees were standing next to the house. So, yeah, it's something's rotten. And if somebody should resign, I'm pretty sure we know who it should be.
111 20th Street, Julie Gardner. How does one sit and proclaim that they are a strong leader, but allows those around her to be torn apart? Case in point. No, ma'am, I'm speaking of your employees that just were sit here. The email that was sent to Chris, what another citizen has said. A strong leader would not, in my opinion. The last time we held an employee luncheon, it was to show the city employees just how much this community truly loves and appreciates all of your hard work. Fire department, sheriff's department, city, we appreciate it. After announcing 4 days ago that we would be feeding the employees this fall, as we promised at our summer luncheon, you were late getting there, so you didn't hear all this. It was very hot that day, so we all agreed that we would throw one in the fall. It's been on the books for months. We just didn't know what the date was. Ms. Miller, you posted on Monday that tomorrow you would be feeding the cities to show your appreciation. Well, here's a thought. Why don't you stand up for them publicly? Right now. You just listened to your city employees get attacked and told they were standing and doing nothing. Obviously, they do a lot. Our cities run every single day off of the blood, sweat, and hard work of these men and women, and I'm sick of it. Last night, a 49-page sworn statement was released. Not only does this statement call into question the present council, but also the previous council and the mayor. It also calls into question other employees. Employees who show up day in and day out and bust their butt for this city. So since no one else will stand up and say it, I will. To every one of you, we appreciate all of your hard work. Y'all show up every day to make our lives better. I don't have to take my trash to the dump because of all of you. I don't have to worry about a water leak. I don't have to worry about my house catching on fire. I don't have to worry about crazy people at my house because of everybody. Lastly, I want to say this to the present councilman and woman, the former council and mayor. We really and truly appreciate all your hard work and everything you guys did to put our city back together. Had those men and women not been at the helm of our ship, I do not think we would be where we are today. Amen. Amen. We don't get to get up twice.
Let's not go there. And no applause, they are necessary for any of us. For any of us. Anyone else? All right, we're going to close the public, the citizens' comments.
Mayor, can I just correct one thing that was said?
Oh, yes.
Earlier on, Mr. Rock Creek thanked the city for putting on the music in the park. It's actually the CDC that does it for us every September. And in fact, because of last week's one being rained off, we're going. That band is coming back the first Thursday in October. Okay. So we're clearly still have 2 months to go. So looking forward to seeing you all there. And again, thank you to the CDC rather than the city for putting that stuff on. But Tommy's people help us always getting it ready for us as well. So.
And I don't think there's anybody in this room that do not appreciate our city employees from the top down. Okay. So let's move to our consent agenda. We have several here. The only change, I have one change, and I know that It's in, find it. Okay, Tammy, it's on the 7th. It's under the open public hearing. And the fourth line down, where it says departmental services. They're talking about me, and you said she did see where it was necessary to have a city administrator. I said it was not. That's the only thing. Okay. Anything you got? So we'll make, when we make our motion, we'll need to have that one section, or one word. It makes a big difference. One word change. Do I have a motion to, do y'all have any changes? Did y'all know that? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay. Let's move to the regular agenda. We got development order for Salt Creek Phase 2. Carly? Hey, glad to have you back.
Great to be here. So before you today, we have a development order application for Salt Creek Phase 2 of the Town Village Planned Unit Development. This includes 92 single-family homes and 36 townhome units. This item has previously come before you a few different times. First as the PUD received project approval, February of 2020. Then preliminary plat for Salt Creek Phase 2 was approved in January of 2023. So what that did was legalize the lot lines. And now they're requesting the development order application to start site work and building those facilities that will support the residential homes. We have Chris Short here with the developer in Dewberry if you have any questions regarding the development. But we are recommending approval, and we find it consistent with the comprehensive plan, land development code, and that planned unit development.
Chris, do you want to come up? Welcome back. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council, mayor. As Carly said, we've been before you guys a few times for different elements of this development. PUD approval, then in January we had preliminary plat. Basically it's 92 single-family homes. I have a couple of boards as well in case folks can't see it clearly on the screen. On the board, the area outlined in green, and I have one here for y'all to look at too. I can move this if needed, but this is the phase that we're coming to you for this evening. The 36 townhome units are basically just an expansion northward of the existing townhome unit development that's under construction right now. And then the 92 single-family residential units are to the west. In between the townhomes and the residential development, you'll see a large rectangle with nothing in it. That is the park. So that is going to be a public access park for the city. There's a few stormwater ponds throughout to treat the stormwater and attenuate the runoff discharge rates per current state standards. We have a lift station designed for this phase as well. It's going to connect to the previous extensions that were done for water and sewer along 98 as part of the previous developments. So this will come down and connect. Let's see, what else is there? So that I know that there were some concerns expressed regarding the water and sewer capacity for this and what this vote would mean in terms of the city's capacity. We've already been permitted for all outstanding or other agency permits except for FDOT. FDOT does not permit prior to development orders. So your water and sewer permits for this, the stormwater, wetland permits, everything's been issued. And because the city already signed off on the sewer and water permits, there was review done prior to that, and DEP has already permitted that. this, as far as a vote tonight, that demand has already been spoken for. If you recall back, for those of you who may not have been here originally during the PUD, we did a projection of the full thing, but this isn't, really what we're before you tonight for, and identified a certain point down the road in the future where we would have, something we would have to address as far as capacity with the Military Point AWT. But that is not the case for this phase. And even in that analysis, what we did was we took the peak month prior to Hurricane Michael happening, which was July 2017. That's what we used as a basis for calculating all of our demands. So as far as the water and sewer demand, that's kind of where we are. I think that's just about it. There were some concerns expressed in the planning meeting for this item, for this development order. Specifically, there were 2 items brought, one being pedestrian access from the north side of 98 to the south side, getting towards the beach access. The other concern being parking on the south side. We have development planned in the overall PUD on the south side, and in the PUD there are identified beach access parking spaces, but that's down the road. So what we're doing right now is we are under contract. We have the survey scheduled to start the design work for both a pedestrian connection going all the way up to the crossings, the apartments that have been built, coming down the boat ramp road, going under the bridge, and then connecting up on the south side of 98, as well as a temporary parking lot on the south side of 98 as well, to allow folks to physically, with their vehicles, go park and then walk safely to the beach access. So we're under contract with that, survey scheduled. Once we get the survey, we'll do the design. We'll coordinate with the city, coordinate with Chris to talk about the design, the preferences of the city as far as that temporary parking area goes, and go through whatever permitting we need to at that point for those items. So just wanted to identify those were brought up in the planning commission meeting as concerns for this phase of the development, and we are moving forward to address those concerns. Any questions?
I have one. Do you foresee any problems with the DOT access? Because I know they like to control the number of access points off 98.
Okay, so they have not issued. They have given us a couple of rounds of comments, and they have not had an issue with the location. There's still a couple minor things to take care of, but one of the final comments was please provide a copy of the development order. So we kind of put that on the back burner until this was addressed. But we provided the distances for all, if you recall, during the town village phase 1, the townhomes that are currently being built, we also designed and had constructed a dedicated boat ramp access road. That way it wouldn't share the same driveway as the apartments. So we labeled all the distances for that driveway, the crossings driveway, the first phase townhomes driveway, this proposed driveway, and even identified, the next driveway down. And we meet all the spacing requirements.
Did you get permission on one of the driveways to have it reduce the distance?
Yes, so one of the driveways we did, it was the boat ramp access road.
Which is the worst one.
Right, it was too close to the crossings. So the crossings boulevard entrance is where the boat ramp road originally connected. But there were concerns about traffic, sharing apartment traffic and future development traffic and boat ramp traffic. So we approached DOT about what we could do with doing a dedicated direct connection to boat ramp road to bypass the crossings. That one didn't quite meet their general spacing requirement, but we got permission from them to have a reduced spacing there.
By 250 feet, one of the worst areas for boats coming out in a short area, and that's the area we reduced. The other one was 1,400 feet. You had no room to move it or do anything else?
I mean, those were kind of the constraints that we were dealing with. But again, that's something that has been permitted and they built it. It's So it's not really part of this phase that's before you, but it was reviewed. We had to make some additional safety improvements to the widening. We had to incorporate additional turn lanes to accommodate that because of the shortened distance. But DOT reviewed it and they approved it.
I'm sorry, what did you say about the terminal?
Oh, just the boat ramp, dedicated boat ramp connection to Boat Ramp Road. Including that, we had to do some additional turn lane improvements and widening beyond what we were having to do with, the town village phase 1. So all that was kind of working together during that approval.
Going back on a couple of the things you said, as far as the walkover or pathway, whatever we were gonna do. We're still the same, we're going from phase 1 to phase 2, but we're in the same place. We still don't have permitting to do it, any drawings to do it. We've seen nothing. Is that true?
That is true. We were not under contract to provide any professional services in that regard. We are now. So it's, part of, for each phase that we've done, there have been things that we have done to accompany it. One being the boat ramp connection, access road, expanding the boat ramp parking, those different elements. And this is the element for this one that we are pursuing to do kind of as a parallel effort.
Well, we're trying to approve the second phase, to get to the second phase,
Yes.
and we really haven't got an answer or a firm answer as to what we requested on phase 1. Do you see where we stand?
I understand the question. It's in progress. Like I said, we have the survey crew scheduled. Our anticipated timeline is to have something to the city by the end of the year. The approval of this development order, construction of this phase would take some time. So, the anticipation is to have all of that in place prior to, so that it can be done kind of at the same time as this development.
Does this development have a lodging facility?
No, it does not.
Okay, because it
No.
says phase 2, including single-family units, villa homes, multifamily residence, and lodging facility.
That's talking about the overall planned unit
Correct.
development includes those uses.
Okay, so that's not just unit,
Correct.
phase 2.
This is
Okay.
a part of that larger group of uses.
Yeah, the larger planned unit development that was reviewed and approved does have lodging facilities on the south side. The multifamily, the first phase is the apartments that are out there right now. The second phase is on the west side of Salt Creek, further to the north. We moved that, at the request of the city when we were reviewing the PUD. But yeah, all that stuff's down the road in the future. This is just single-family residential and 36 townhomes.
And so, max height says 48. Is that for the single-family?
I think that's just for the
homes or
PUD in general. That would be for the apartments and that kind of thing. I mean, that's not going to be anything
Single-family
applicable
homes
to.
would have to go by our normal
That's correct.
36, okay. Just wanna make sure.
Would they have to, being it's a PUD?
No,
I mean,
that will all be reviewed when they're building the residential unit. Since it's a PUD though, they've asked for 48
And they've got
feet
it.
regardless. So that's what they've been given.
I got two.
Yes, sir.
I'm like Richard, and you know what I'm like.
I understand.
We've got these people, it's in the apartments. Put yourself in their shoes and they want to go to the beach. Are you gonna walk from the apartment down through the boat ramp all the way out to the beach? You.
Go. I got short legs. That's a lot of steps.
That's my point I'm trying to get across to you. Wait a minute now, wait. Where do you expect the people that go into the beach, where do you expect them to park in?
Well, that's why we have the.
Now, I know what you said, it's all coming, but it's been coming before this comes out now. Plus, I want another acre on the boat ramp, park boat ramp. I'm serious. I mean, well, you've got these people coming, and we have nowhere for them to go. And I know when you get through, there will be a parking, and it'll be really nice, but now, right today, or maybe next week. When them people, or next summer, when they wanna go to the beach, what are they gonna park?
Well, that's why we're doing the temporary parking on the south side. It will be a large parking lot, and people will be able to drive instead of walking all the way across. They'll be able to park on the south side, and they'll have a shorter walk to the beach. You know, we did a property expansion, lease timeline extension on the boat ramp. So, I mean, that's...
I know where you're coming from, Chris, but I want you to understand, these people's coming.
I do understand.
And we have a place to put them besides, I mean, what few we got down there, we hoping it's gonna use for our boat slips, people to park. And we're gonna have 400 residents. And you want them to walk.
Well, that's why we're doing the south side parking.
I understand, when though? I know you say it's in the progress, you can't give us time, you can't.
We discussed having something to the city by the end of the year. I feel like if I say anything more definitive than that my surveyor that I work with in the office is gonna flog me for having him committed, but we have it scheduled for survey, and then as soon as that's done, we're gonna move forward with the design of it. We discussed in the planning commission meeting, it may be in the minutes, but we discussed having something to the city by the end of the year to review on that. And then, you know, we just have to figure out with the other agencies, you know, what kind of permitting we have to go through. So it's more immediate now. You know, we are under contract now to do the engineering work, the surveying work, the permitting work. So now that we are under contract, you know, it is happening. But I understand.
You understand?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Well, we're going to open for public comments,
Sure.
and you may have questions
No, I got questions.
presented toward you, Chris and Carly.
Rock Creek, Colorado Drive. This is why I come to the meetings, one of the reasons. Planning and Zoning Board. In January, we had this discussion. And the people sitting here that don't know, right here, where all the townhomes are, there's a dirt road right over here. And back in January, we asked to do something here, just bulldoze down through here, add some parking right here. Like I said, there's no way people are coming from out here and they're gonna come down and walk over to the beach. You ain't gonna do it. That's not gonna happen. The other thing that hasn't even been discussed again is, right in here, there was commercial property, right in that area there. They skipped over it again. There's nothing going on. And you got 216 apartments. You got the homes, and you got the townhouses now that are there. There's nothing there for anybody to do because it's been skipped over. The big deal is the parking, and that's the way to solve it. We brought this up in January. It was voted 5-0 for the planning board. We brought it to you guys, 3 of you anyway, the other 2 aren't here, in January to do something over there. Land Development Code 2.03.06, procedure for approval. It says right in there, dedications. The city council shall be permitted to require an applicant to make reasonable contributions, including but not limited to any combination of the following. Dedication of land for public road right-of-way purposes. You got it right over there. They ain't gonna build over there for probably another 5 to 7 years. And they don't have the infrastructure to do it for water and sewers. They've already admitted that. They can't do that over there. That's gonna sit there for years. There's no reason why they can't go over there and put in a lot. You're going to screw everybody in the city of Mexico Beach, because I'm telling you what's going to happen right now. Nobody's walking down there. It ain't going to happen. All your side streets that go out to the beach, all the way down 98, you can't even park on them. You know that. They're too narrow and there's nowhere to go. Everybody up here is going to go to the dedicated beach because there's no place else to go. Nothing. And that's a fix right there. All they have to do is plow in there. It's a big dirt field, dump some gravel, and make them do it before you approve this. Otherwise, you're going to screw everybody in Mexico Beach. This is a big deal here. There's going to be a bunch of people, and there's nowhere for them to park, and they can't walk that far. It ain't going to happen. We actually even brought up for them to talk to DOT at the meeting about maybe doing something, because that's 35-mile-an-hour speed zone. You go down to Port St. Joe, they got a golf cart crossing on 98. putting something in here, at least a flashing light with a pedestrian way to get across to the other side, or maybe even a golf cart thing. That way you don't even have to have a licensed golf cart, but you can drive across 98 and get to the other side and just put a big lot in there with gravel. They can do that. They have the land over there, and it ain't gonna hurt them. Eventually, when they do develop, which is gonna be years down the road, all they have to do is plow that over and build in what they're gonna build. It's something you just consider right now before you approve this, to let them go forward. Make them do something. We asked them in January about it, we got no answer. We asked them 2 weeks ago, no answer, same thing. You just ask them and nothing happens. That's why your decision, this is up to you right here, and I'm telling you, this is going to have a big effect with everybody that lives in Mexico Beach. Thank you.
Chris, do we know when this project's going to start with their commercial?
So that actually, Rock, I did not mention the commercial concern earlier, so thank you for bringing that up. They're actively marketing the commercial space. You know, it's not one of those things where it's just build a strip mall or a box and hope somebody comes in. It's built to suit. I'm not privy to all of the things that are being discussed with different commercial businesses. The things I am privy to, can't really get into detail. It is being marketed, and once they have somebody that says, yes, we agree, we want to do this, you know, it's going to jump forward. That'll be the next thing that happens for us. It's just market driven. You know, the hope is, you know, continuing to expand this centralized community around will help bring interest and bring a commercial client or lessee or owner, however they're going to handle those discussions, to allow us to do that commercial thing. Speaking again to Rock's other concerns, you know, we are moving forward, and it's pretty much at that location that Rock discussed. We're evaluating, we're doing the survey right now. Unfortunately, just going through and throwing a bunch of gravel, you know, on an open field, you have to have permits for things like that. I mean, it seems it's a vehicular use area, so in order to have permits, you have to have engineered drawings, you know, calculations, exhibits. That's what we're going forward with right now.
Chris, are we just prepping a lot of land? To me, that's what it looks like. I mean, landscaping looks great. Not a stick's been put up yet.
It's
not on to phase 2, and phase 1 hadn't even started.
Okay, so we actually, I believe, on the next planning agenda, I haven't seen the formal agenda come out, but the planning meeting in October next week, we are making an adjustment to the plat of the phase 1 townhomes. We had original product built into the design. They got a new builder under contract with a different footprint, so we had to adjust lot lines. It didn't change anything with impervious areas, nothing with the stormwater, but they can't build until
Is
they
this
get
the
the plat.
D.R. Horton builder that took over?
I don't know who the builder is. We were just provided with a footprint and said, make this work.
Went from Trulin to DR.
So that's what the delay is with that, is the builder contract, and then we have to do a replat. But that's on the planning agenda for October.
You guys have a lot to do, and I know we have a lot to do at this table, but you got to understand, I mean, we have no solid commitment for the small little things that we are asking for.
I understand that concern with the specific
But you keep
items.
moving forward, and you want to move forward more. You have 7 phases planned. Is that not true? On this?
I have to go back and look at the PUD to see how
It
many
is
phases.
7 phases.
Yeah. I understand your specific concern with these items that
It's
we're
not
discussing.
mine, it's the city of Mexico
Sure,
Beach.
sure. That was bad wording, I apologize. But I will say that we have been asked on each approval that we've come through to do things. You know, we've expanded the boat ramp area, the parking area, we extended the lease. We were asked to provide a dedicated boat ramp connection road, because when the apartments were being built, there was concern about the shared traffic load on that. So we did that. So we're doing things as we go, and the next one that goes hand in hand with this development is the parking and the pedestrian access.
And those are big things in Mexico Beach because we have 2-lane highway going through. Accessibility is huge.
Absolutely.
And that should be big to you guys.
And it is. You know, as far as the discussion of the PUD approval and this parking and pedestrian being brought up at that point we had a set of plans that showed what the development was going to be. It would have basically had, you know, reset and go through the entire review and approval process rather than going through for this phase and coming in, you know, parallel to do the parking and the pedestrian path. So it's moving forward. We understand that it is a critical need and, you know, our client wants this to be a successful development in terms of it being good for the city as well. So we are moving forward with that. And like I said, it's under contract for our professional services to put together everything to go forward and get the necessary permits. And it's on the schedule for surveying. That's the first step.
Okay, Lisa?
Lisa Logan, Maryland Boulevard. Rich and Jerry and Rock spoke on my major concern, but I'm going to still add my comments on this. The phase that has already been permitted and is being built right now is 200 plus apartments and 38 townhouses, roughly 240 units. You average 2 people per unit, that's 480 people. 2 cars per unit, that's 480 cars. They have yet, even though they talk about it, built any method of moving 480 plus people across Highway 98 to the adjacent beach, which is where it makes sense to put them, leaving instead those 480 people and 480 cars to get in their cars, come down first Canal Parkway, which is going to clog very quickly, then the side streets, which really can't support parking, then they go to the dedicated beach, which is the only place left. So that's an additional 480 people and 480 cars with no current, as Jerry pointed out, no now way to get them there. And the apartments are already being rented. I am asking you to deny any further development orders until this pathway that they want to build, which we all know is not going to be utilized, until they get that built and they give 3 beach dune walkovers across the dunes along that strip of land so that we can move those 480 plus people across the highway to the adjacent beach. That will alleviate a significant portion of the burden that this is going to place on the rest of the town and the residents. It will take a significant portion of cars off of the highway if they have beach access going straight across. It shouldn't be a problem because that would be part of this overall PUD. St. Joe owns that land already. They just don't want to do that. So, what is best for the town? It's not what is best for the developer. You need to not placate this developer or any developer over the benefits that come to the town and the residents. So, Chris Short just said that we discussed having by the end of the year something about the pathway. It's scheduled for survey, then it goes to the design. Then we decide what kind of permitting we have to go through. All right, they're going to have at least DEP and Army Corps, I suspect. They might even have to have Coast Guard permitting because that bridge is controlled, the 98 West End Bridge is controlled by the Coast Guard. We know from personal experience that getting permitting from DEP and Army Corps takes at least 1 to 2 years. Therefore, building that pathway hasn't even gone into the application process. So while they're doing that for the next 1 or 2 years, we still have the issue of 480 extra people and 480 extra cars. Where are we going to put them? So until this development builds
the necessary pathways to handle what is already permitted, you should not permit anything else. Thank you.
Connie Reisinger, 504 Maryland Boulevard. Most people know how I feel about Dewberry. I've lived here many years. This is typical. They jump off of the mountain and they build the airplane as they're going down. And that's what they're doing here, as they do on everything. Please, do not give them any more permits to build until they get their act together, if they can do that. They need to do this parking lot now, not 2 years from now. Not while they're building more apartments, while they're building more houses. They need to make sure they know what, you ask them. They don't know. Remember the last time? I asked them. I don't know. They don't know anything when it comes to their future. Because, well, they'll do it later. Well, I don't know. Please, stand up for the citizens. I can't imagine what our town's going to look like if we let them go ahead and build all this, and all these people come here, and all these cars come here. We have a mess parking right now.
Yeah. Amen.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mike Piccolo, 408 Colorado Drive. Hey, I want to thank y'all, because what we see right now is the diligence I think we've deserved for a while. A comment directly to this gentleman here. Why would you take the assessment for water and sewage off of 2017 when we already have 200 built, another 173 in front of you? So I think you should do your numbers based on current demand and approved demand, and then you can tell us what the sewage rate is. I think that was pretty wrong for you to make that statement. And it's not a joke. You see how personal we take it. And this young lady here, how tall are the houses going to be? We're going to leave a gap in the plan? That's how we got stuck with the 173 houses that snuck in and nobody knew about it, because it was already approved without a plan 2 years ago. So we got to fix the gap. If a house is going to be 48 feet, then the zone has to say that. Currently doesn't allow for that. So, and then it's going to push our fire department rate up because we don't have the right truck. And all of a sudden this chain of events, because people go in with their wish list. And the 173 houses from the previous development, man, it would have been a lot better if it was maybe 160 and the proper roads were planned. So the new 92 houses you want to plan, why isn't it 80? Because you got to make your money.
Mayor,
why is it not 80 houses so we can have parking for the city? I'm just making a comment so the planner can take it back to his planners.
Address the council, please, sir. You don't badger the engineer.
I'm just making comments to him that he made.
Okay.
So that's all I'm asking.
So
When it's on the paper, it's too late. And we sucked it down and we can't do nothing about it. And I appreciate what you've done. Sir, your comments are right on. You're on board with what the planning committee is saying. You're not out doing your own things. So that's great. But even in this meeting today, there's gaps and seams that we're going to be taken advantage of. We're going to be losing in the long run if we don't hold them accountable. Thank you.
and I'm sure Chris does not take that personally. It's recommendations from the citizens.
No, I don't take that.
It was not pushed towards you.
No, not at all. But I do want to clarify, speaking about the 2017 demand.
Yes.
Back during the PUD process, as part of the PUD process development, you identify, the number of phases, the number of units, and part of the concurrency that allows the approval of the PUD is to look at the projected demand as that development happens.
Right.
At that time, we were post-Michael. So we did not want to base our analysis of the future demand growth on those current numbers. So we backed it up to the peak July 2017 to account for, before Michael happened. So that But each step of the way, for each development that comes in, we have to look at the snapshot of the demand at that time.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that, you know, as part of this application, we weren't basing anything off of 2017. That was the long-term planning PUD basis for our analysis.
And we've had a couple other developments come since y'all, so, and they have to meet those same demands as far as sewer and water. Okay.
Can I make just like one last comment?
Yes, sir.
Alex Hogan, 425 7th Street. I have to totally agree with the three gentlemen that have spoken up about this. And what is concerning to me is how did we get to where we are right now? Mr. Wolf was excellent, in his questions. These should have been answered or asked years ago, perhaps, even months. And now, what leverage do we actually have at this point with the PUD? Is it stoppable? Maybe not. I don't know. You have to talk to the attorney, perhaps. But these are things that should have been done years ago. And it's a shame that we are at this stage right now. Hopefully we can't slow it down or stop it until Mr. Wolf is correct. We need to do something about it now. Rock is exactly right. The parking is going to be. We can't go in another phase and lease 1 to 2 years to do the parking. That's not acceptable. It's a shame we are where we are in such a big thing like this. And it was all talked about years ago. When I was on the P&Z, it was talked about. Issues were brought up. Votes were made, but nothing was done. But now we are asking the right questions and demanding the answers and demanding proper action.
Thank you. Any other citizens? Yes, ma'am.
Tracy Gaddis, 1106 Heath Street. I'm just curious about the park. You said a public park. Is this a children's park? What kind of park are you talking about?
I mean, as far as the development order plans right now, here's the microphone. Right now, it is just an open green space park. So but in the dedication in the preliminary plat, and then that will carry over to the final plat, that is an area that will be given over to the city.
So then the city will do the park?
At whatever level the city wants.
Because you're going to have all these houses, you're going to have all these grandchildren, and you're going to have all these children. We don't have enough things for our children to do. So when you say public park, I want some kind of commitment. We're going to have something for our kids, and it's not going to say residents only, that kind of thing.
No, the plat, or the preliminary plat language covers that, and it will be carried over to the final plat. It specifically identifies that the park is not private. It is dedicated for public access.
If we have a park, I want it to be a children's park.
Chris, is this a 2-acre park? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I believe it's 2 acres.
It says 2 acres with dog park.
2 acres with dog park.
Yeah.
I think that is a future park. This one here, that's the park that I'm referring to.
And that's why I'm a little confused, because it looks like this is saying phase 2,
Mm-hmm.
but then everything in it that I've read and underlined and looked at and tried to kind of figure out, it looks like a lot of it's your total phasing. Like, the commercial, like the lodging, it goes back to total commercial. It's saying we're meeting everything for this phase, but
So the PUD identified phasing in a larger sense. This is Salt Creek Phase 2. It's the Town Village Townhomes was originally identified as a certain number of townhomes. They built the 42 townhomes for Salt Creek Phase 1. It's just the title of the project. It's not talking about the overall PUD phase. Salt Creek Phase 2 is just meaning that it's adjoining to the Salt Creek Phase 1 townhome development.
so I'm going to, anybody else in the public forum?
One last question.
and I'm certainly not badgering you. You can take me out
don't think nobody's badgering anybody here.
Shelby Bush, 130 Palm Street. My question is, you brought up that tonight was to talk about phase 2. And all we're hearing about is phase 1 and what's not been done, or what maybe still needs to be done. And Mr. Wolf, he said it so well. Why wasn't there any prints or anything, diagrams prior to that? That was a question that he asked, and you said it wasn't necessary for phase 1, but it is for phase 2. Why?
So it was just brought up as a discussion point in the planning meeting for this phased application. We were aware that it was something that, long-term was going to be a need, but as per this development order application that's before you now, it was brought up very heavily in the planning commission meeting. We had already started the process of negotiating the contract and identifying areas to do this work. So that's just kind of how we are where we are right now.
I've got a question. How can we continue to build more and more houses and we don't have the infrastructure of commercial entities such as restaurants and grocery stores and, the things we've been talking about, Mexico Beach from after Michael, definitely. Lewis and Gulf Foods. And so how can we continue approving all these developments, but we're not getting anyone to bring in what we really need? And when will that happen?
Again, all I can say is that our client is actively marketing the commercial areas. With additional, centralized residential units, that is an attractor to commercial development. But it's being actively marketed. I don't know details or can't really disclose in what I do know, as I kind of mentioned earlier. But it's not something that's it's not backburnered. It's actively trying to get somebody to come in. I know we've done layouts for a couple of different companies, but they decided not to move forward.
And it sounds like a build it and they'll come. I don't know that if we build it, they're going to come.
Well, the same from the perspective of my client, the same thing can be said for the commercial areas. Is it a build, general commercial and then try to get people to come into the space, or agree on the front end with a commercial client and build what they want to suit? That increases their chances of coming in.
Okay, so any other public comment before?
The other part, that boat ramp's gonna stay like it is? I mean, that boat ramp road, is that the permanent boat ramp road?
As it is right now, yes.
Has anybody pulled the boat out of there lately? In July or August? I mean, it's really dangerous. And I know you have that turn lane, but Mr. Wolf brought that up. It is crazy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be quiet.
One more comment in the back. Can you come up here? I'm sorry.
One quick comment about the...
Just state your name.
Mary Kenny. One quick comment about the commercial area is if you're going to bring in that many people, be nice to get a post office.
All right, any other public comment before I close?
I just want to go back and address two quick things. The commercial, this is going on right after Mike. We were here over the other thing, everybody sat there, the whole plans were laid out, the whole 9 yards. When everything was discussed with commercial, what wasn't brought up was they weren't going to build anything. You came out with all your plans, you got all this stuff out here. There's a ton of stuff around in apartments that is all business, this and this. Everybody was under the impression that they were going to build something. They were going to put something in, so when the apartments went in, there was already something there so you could move in a sports bar or this, that, or anything else. We didn't know there wasn't going to be anything. And the boat ramp road, that was discussed for for the last 3 years. At every council meeting, we didn't want it the way it was. We wanted to come down and have a separate entrance for the apartments and leave the boat ramp road the way it was and come down further. The plans went in that way. DOT approved it. So I mean, this is a DOT nightmare right here. I can't blame the developer because we beat that to death, meeting after meeting. So this was DOT that did that. But the commercial deal, this is what happened. We thought there was going to be something, and now there's not, and it's just sitting there.
John Harrell, 43 First Street. As far as the park that you're talking about, 2 acres, I think? The park, you said it was just 2-acre park. Is that going to be deeded to the city, or is St. Joe Company keeping it, like they do the boat ramp?
It is dedicated through the plat to the city. So the plat is about, the right-of-ways of the roads are dedicated to the city, and the park is dedicated to the city. So that's an actual land, yeah, correct. That is a land division mechanism.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Okay, now I'm going to close our public discussion. It's great discussion, great bringing it to the table for further discussion. Yes, sir.
First thing is, I don't think it's fair that we're asking him about commercial. I think we should be looking at ourselves and saying, what are we as a city doing to promote commercial here? Where I moved from 10 years ago, our council is actively involved in commercial recruitment. What are we doing to get commercial here? That's the first thing I want to clarify. The next one is our LDC. This is Carly questions. We have parking requirements. We require them to have parking, all that. Do we have in our LDC that we require them to provide beach parking as well as parking for their house? So this is compliant with the LDC and the comp plan and everything it meets?
This development in front of you, yes. And then there will be another review when they build the residential units. So that's where we'll talk about the height. We'll make sure every unit has the appropriate parking. We'll do this again.
And the PUD that was approved in 2000, well, we go all the way back to 2005 when this originally started. And then, so in 2020, we approved 48 feet for the PUD as a whole, correct?
48 feet for the PUD as a whole.
Okay, that's all I needed to clarify.
And why is that? I'm just curious, if we go by our LDC and if somebody just comes in and builds a house, they can't go over 32 or whatever, so why is a PUD, if it's single-family homes like there are here in our city, why would that be different?
So all of this property, all this PUD is in one future land use, the tourist mixed use. With that, they created a PUD to go within that use. The PUD was agreed upon by the city council, and that's when it was agreed that 48 would be the limit. If that wanted to be changed, I'm not sure it could, because that was what was agreed upon back then. Right.
So in 2005, we just annexed, we didn't do any preliminary PUD stuff in 2005? Okay, I don't need it.
So that's exactly why Farmdale was 48 also.
Because it was the PUD agreement for when they...
Adrian, it was 2006, and there was no preliminary agreement done.
It was just the annexation.
It was simply an annexation.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Wolf?
Yeah, I just, I mean, Chris, I don't want to beat you guys up, but seriously, I mean, we hold our citizens to MITs, building regulations, rules, and there's some of them that they may come in with a building diagram and it doesn't fit, so we say you have to add this, and they do it. I don't see the same thing from developers, and I think we've got the cart before the horse, and I'm speaking to this council too. I think it's time. I don't think you play hardball, but you have to. I mean, we're going from phase 1 to phase 2. We're asking for a simple access road. Something that's needed, something for safety. We need some type of commitment. I really believe that. That's awesome. That's all I'll say.
And I think we've heard about this over and over again, and, no commitment has been made to that. And I think we need a commitment and progress in that commitment before we can, continue just building on top of building. And to Richard's point, it's, about safety as well. So, Linda?
It's pretty devastating, all this news.
Now, a lot of this was before any of us sit here. We started way before any of us sit here. Even you.
Even me, I've been in along. I'm like, Avon says, they have passed, and I know, I own the parking lot, but I think they've passed everything. I mean, they did everything they're supposed to do, and even Rockingham, y'all approved it. Didn't the PZ approve it?
We recommended this.
I mean, your recommendations are the same as ours, but you approved.
Well, it was approved before that, but I mean, in the ODC, it has in there that you can request it, or you shall. I mean, that's up to you. You can tell them to do this before you approve anything. It's right here, black and white.
Okay. Yes, ma'am? Did you have something?
No,
Okay.
just wait for a question.
I'm ready. She's got her iPad there, she's ready. Okay, so we're still at the table here. Any other discussion? I feel that Rock's exactly right. I think this is in our hands, and I think our citizens are speaking to us loud and clear. So we'd have to have a motion to approve or deny. Do you have something, Chris?
Yeah, just one more thing,
Okay.
you mentioned having a commitment. There is the possibility this is not the final step before homes are built. We still have to come before you for a final plat. So there is a possibility for adding conditions to the development order that say prior to final plat approval. And that's
And final
just what I
plat
wanted
approval
to.
comes after the homes are built.
So it would be after the infrastructure is built, but not before the homes are built. So roadways, utilities, and then, you would have to have the final plat approved before things could start going vertical.
Go ahead.
We can approve this with conditions,
Yes,
correct?
we can. We can. And I think that's what they did before, is, the first time they approved it with conditions, and I don't know that those conditions have been met, but, and this is where we need to, in my opinion, and when you do an agenda, when you have something that keeps kind of going, that needs to be always on old business, so you can always bring it back up and make sure that it doesn't get lost in the weeds.
But Mayor, it's ironic that we're talking about phase 2 here. I mean, when we did phase 1, we had these exact same conversations. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't approve it. I understand everything's right and they've done all their work. And in the past, that's what we reduced it. Well, they've done all, okay, go ahead. But the problem is we've asked for something. The citizens have asked for it. We've asked for it. So we're going to phase 2. We're not talking about phase 1. They've already built, they're on phase 1. It's all approved and ready to go. Can we just pause, get it approved, make the design, come back in a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and then we'll push this through? But we get no commitment.
Your concern is what hasn't been done on phase 1.
Right.
Up to this point.
Yes,
And
sir.
We're going into phase 2. I think it would be in the discretion of the board to table the approval of phase 2 development order until you at least, maybe not completed, but at least, he says by the end of the year, at least have the completed plans and permits for the access road or the parking lot or those things.
Is the parking lot in phase 1?
What cost it?
I think it was discussed.
Well, by the beach.
I don't think it was.
Right,
Parking
it's
lot
not
is by the
included in
beach.
a phase of residential
At all, no.
development, right.
No.
Right.
But it was because of phase one and all the places that are there now and they need to get across.
It was all discussed in phase one, I do remember that, even though I wasn't involved in it. Yes, ma'am.
You need to verify that parking lot that Mr. Short is mentioning on the south side for beach parking, isn't that just 56 parking spaces?
Couldn't read at least. 54 it looks like.
50-something parking spaces to handle the current 480. So that's not going to be a whole lot of help.
Okay, every little bit.
So the parking lot, I think that Ms. Logan is referring to, is identified in the PUD. The temporary parking lot that we're discussing, we're getting survey on it to figure out what configuration we got. You know, it will at least be the same thing that was identified as the PUD to keep in good faith with that. But, you know, it has room to provide many more parking spaces. That's why I mentioned that we would have something to the city to discuss and look at prior to the end of the year to decide, okay, well, what about, you know, how does this serve the city? But the 56 that's identified in the PUD, that is not the parking lot that is being worked on currently.
It's not in here at all.
No, it's a
It's
temporary.
not.
Correct.
Temporary. All right, well, I will entertain a motion of some sort.
I'll make a motion, we don't approve the development order application for Salt Creek Phase 2, the Village PUD, 92 single-family homes and 36 townhomes at this point.
I'll second it.
Tammy?
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Welly,
No.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
I'd rather table it, but we just made the motion, so
Well, we can pull a motion.
I don't think turning it down is what we need to do. And I think we need to table it and let them come back with that, but
Okay.
You need a
You
yes
wanna-
or no vote for
A
it.
yes or no vote.
Well, I'm trying to move forward.
Sorry. Point of order.
Where not?
Point of order. We need a vote.
Think for yourself, Jerry.
no.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Chris and Carly, for,
Excuse me, I couldn't hear
Excuse me.
that. Was that a motion to pass or deny?
deny.
Motion to deny.
Motion to deny.
3-2.
3-2.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're moving on to, point in the gallery, please. Moving on to resolution 23-08, 15th Street Pedestrian Bridge Grant. Mr. Hubbard.
Yeah, back whenever Doug Baber was the city administrator here, he had applied for a legislative apportionment. A legislative apportionment for the bridge on 15th Street to go across the canal there and resolve some of the safety issues with people trying to cross that bridge as traffic goes by. The city found out before I arrived here that the grant was received, and now we've received the agreement from the state. And as part of the acceptance process, we have to adopt this resolution in order to formally accept the grant funds.
Okay.
This is for both engineering and construction.
So do we have a motion to read resolution 23-08?
I'll make a motion to read resolution 23-08 by title only.
I'll second it.
Hey, Tammy, call the roll.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Willie.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Resolution 2308, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a grant from the Florida Department of Transportation for design and construction of the 15th Street pedestrian bridge, a multi-use path in the amount of $350,000, providing an immediate effective date.
Okay. We are open to public discussion.
Rock Creek, Colorado, that's a no-brainer to do this. The only question is, I know the developer of 15th Street who wanted to go in there, they had some kind of in their plan, they were gonna put a bridge in there. That was part of the deal for their development.
I think that's on the back side of the
Mhm.
property.
14th Street.
14th Street, on the back side of the property.
To go where across the canal
Across
from the backside?
On the back side of 14th
Okay,
Street.
okay. I mean, you all know 15th Street, that bridge is ridiculous. It's wide for 2 cars, and people who are renting coming down here, pulling their kids in a little cart and everything else is ridiculous. So I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's a good thing that Doug got that and the money's approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we figure out how long the design phase and then the construction will take? Any guess?
It's gonna have to go out for bids and let, somebody actually come out and look at it, Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, I'm close to public meeting, bring, discussion, bring it to the table. Discussion at the table.
Yeah, my part on this is it's $350,000. I'm not sure if that's enough to build a bridge, but I guess it is. Have we gone out and got bids or anything?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, I'm worried about the construction cost too, with as much as prices have gone up recently.
Yeah.
But it's $350,000 closer to what we were.
So important that we put a minimum on the design costs to save for the build. I wish we would have done get some estimates or something prior to this.
We can table this and bring it back as far as approval.
As long as we
Well,
accept
could approve
the grant,
We
yes.
could approve the grant, but they'll definitely have to bring those bids back to us.
I mean, we're paying $350,000, we're paying $100,000 for the design, or whatever the number is, we're left with minimum. So we need to make sure that we get that done properly.
I was under the impression that Doug had checked with some prefab company.
Gator Bridge or something? Some kind of-
I sent him pictures of a bridge at
And it
North
was,
Florida.
I think he said it was within reason to do it with our grant, so that might be something we want to go back in those minutes and look at and see what company that was with.
I might have that.
Okay.
The only thing I'm gonna add is, when I talked to my wife about running for city council, this is the promise I had to make, is that I'd have a bridge on 15th Street, so. This will make me points with my wife, so.
Happy wife.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I think, I've been pushing this for a long time. It's very dangerous. I was under the impression though when Doug left it, I wanted it on the sidewalk side. And I think he told me and Tommy that we had to put it on the inside, which I didn't ever understand that. You remember that?
I think he, when we got the people to give us, come out and look at it, I think it was gonna go on the sidewalk.
I think it says in here it's the sidewalk side.
Did you guys get any numbers on that?
We went to St. Joe and looked at the aluminum spans that were there, and I believe that's where he got a price from, and I'm pretty sure it would fall in the $350,000 range.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's, I think it's 5 foot wide. I think it's a golf cart.
Yeah. It was 6 foot wide.
6 foot wide.
Yeah.
6 and 6, yeah. Anything else? Linda, do you have anything?
I think we need to move forward with that.
Okay. Okay, I'll take a motion for approval of the resolution 2308, the 15th Street pedestrian bridge grant.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-08.
I'll second it.
Call the roll.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Willie,
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. All right, we're moving to a resolution 2309, a ladder fire truck. Chris,
Similar as the pedestrian bridge on 15th Street, the state has also allotted $500,000 for the purchase of a new ladder fire truck for our fire department. And this is just a formal resolution to accept that.
okay. Do I have a motion to read resolution 2309 by title only?
Make a motion to read the resolution 2309.
Second it.
Pam, call the roll.
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Welly.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Open to the public, any public discussion for the ladder truck? Closed discussion, comes to the table. Discussion at the table about the ladder truck approval. Do I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 23-09.
Second.
I need to read it.
She needs to-
We were ready, let's do this. All right, Tammy, you can read it, please. You will come back to the table with our motion.
Resolution 2309, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a grant from the State Fire Marshal for the purchase of an aerial ladder fire truck in the amount of $500,000, providing an immediate effective date.
All right. May I have a motion again to,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2309.
Second.
all right, now we can call the roll, Tammy.
Okay, Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Welly.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
All right. On to resolution 23-10. This is live location act. This live location act. This is Carly.
This one's a little different. Don't look at me like that already.
Yeah.
Okay, so this past legislative session earlier in the year, Governor Ron DeSantis signed Senate Bill 102, also known as the Live Local Act. This act, as described by the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, is a comprehensive statewide workforce housing strategy designed to increase the availability of affordable housing opportunities for Florida's workforce who desire to live within the communities they serve. In addition to providing funding for workforce housing with new programs, incentives, and opportunities, this act also makes changes and additions to affordable housing related programs and policies at the state and local level. Specifically, this act requires the city to prepare an inventory every 3 years of all real property, so that property owned by the city, within our jurisdiction to which the city holds fee simple title, and to determine if there are any properties appropriate for use as affordable housing. This list must be placed on the city's website as of October 1st, 2023. The Planning Collaborative and city staff reviewed the city's properties, and that's what's in the table you've been provided. We've identified 7 properties that we believe are suitable for affordable housing, and we prepared a resolution as such. Florida state statute also instructs and requires the council to review the inventory list at a public hearing. The council may revise that resolution and the inventory at the conclusion of the public hearing. And following, the governing body and the municipality shall adopt a resolution that includes the inventory and then post it on their website. We recommend that you include the 7 parcels, but we're open to discussion.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so do I have a motion to read resolution 23-10?
I'll make a motion to read resolution 23-10 by title only.
I'll second.
Tammy, call roll.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Welly.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes. Marie.
Resolution 23-10. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving an inventory list of municipally owned property that is appropriate for use as affordable housing pursuant to section 166.0451 Florida statutes, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
Okay, I'm open to public discussion.
And just so everyone knows, we have the inventory list and we have pictures of all the parcels up on the PowerPoint. If y'all have questions about a specific parcel, we have notes on that.
I do have some questions on your parcels here. I've been looking at all of them, and it's not 37th Street where the pier is. There's 2 lots on there for public low-income housing on the pier where all this stuff used to be. Now, wasn't there something, would you have the property down there and it had something to do when the pier goes in about using some of that property for like a bait shop or something, the city doing something with that?
I think we got 4 lots, or three of
Five city lots.
City lots that we bought, we got
You
out
got,
of
yeah,
the
you got the
famous
money
back.
for it to buy them lots, but that was for the pier for doing stuff.
Yes.
And now they're in an inventory for low-income housing by the pier? Really? I just want to bring that up. I mean, one's a double lot, one's a single lot, so I mean, it's kind of, I'd like to live there in a low-income public housing.
Yes, I very much understand the concern, and that's why we brought this list here, is to bring up those intentions of the city. I just looked at it from a wetlands or a future land use perspective, so that we can bring it here and discuss why the city sees it fit or not to be affordable housing.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Yes, ma'am?
And we pull up on the PowerPoint the other things. Didn't you say you had it available to see on the PowerPoint?
Which one do you want to see? I have all of them.
Everything that had to do with Parker Park.
So that's the first one.
I'm sorry, where is?
It's on the 22nd.
That's not appropriate.
Not appropriate.
Yeah. So there's several that are not appropriate.
Yeah, a whole bunch of not
Yeah.
appropriate.
So it's already in there? No, okay. So she was asking about Parker Park. Scroll up a little bit.
Well, whatever's appropriate. I think Parker
Oh.
Park is included. Just keep
I
scrolling
see,
down.
I see. Yes.
I don't think Parker Park was on the appropriate list.
It's not appropriate.
And some potential site.
Yes.
That's the first one.
It's the old Civic Center by the parking lot.
Isn't Brace Reynolds built on the old Civic Center?
There's 3 parcels, there's only one.
Oh, okay.
Is the parcel that's right behind the Civic Center?
I think it's
I
the one
mean,
in
not
front.
behind it, but the one right behind Braswell's.
City pier.
Does it have lumber on it?
We were gonna have.
Okay. Point of order, please. One person at a time. Lisa, did you have a question?
If we can ever find it, I do.
Which one are you looking for?
Keep going.
on Parker Park.
Oh, okay.
We don't have it? Parker Park not on there?
No, it's not on there.
Well, never mind.
All right. Okay. Any other public discussion? Okay, let's close the public discussion. We'll move discussion to the table. Yes, sir.
These are potential sites that someone may be interested in trying to purchase, not something we're trying to sell, nothing like that.
Yes.
This is just a, hey, we own these lots, you should call us and make us an offer.
Right.
Okay.
It's,
That's where I was so confused about this.
yeah, this is just that we have to go through the process of looking at what we have and what we could do for public, for affordable housing. I think.
Basically our inventory.
Yes, but I think in the future, we do need to look at public housing, but it's going to, or public housing, affordable housing, not public, affordable housing, which who knows what affordable is these days. But we do need to think, but that might be something that the council wants to work with a builder or a developer on to develop something that's feasible. Like we talked about, we need to think about our commercial properties and how we can get some in. Those might be ways that we could, give some tax breaks or whatever we have to do to get some people come in, and they do these things in other towns. But as far as this goes, does anybody have any other discussion about it?
No, I don't want to say, I mean, obviously, I don't want to make Governor DeSantis mad, but it seems somewhat of a formality to go through, trying to find, I've been looking for 5 years for affordable land in Mexico Beach, so. You did.
Right. So, anybody else discussion at the table? All right, I can entertain a motion for approval or denial. Okay. Oh, yeah.
You gotta make the list.
Right, so.
You gotta make a list of,
Yes.
Can we say as presented?
Well, so you talked about not wanting to include 37th Street for a reason that is.
okay, so you gotta go through each one of these that are
If you'd like to.
potentials?
Yes.
Okay, so I wasn't under that understanding. It looked like it's
We just need to make the inventory.
There's
Okay.
there's that list that.
Robin. I wanna talk about Robin. It's, how big is that?
Which one?
That's the very last one, 305
okay.
Robin Lane.
Yes, it is 0.208 acres, designated residential low density. It's the last.
So to allow one house.
So we would say that probably wouldn't work for affordable housing as it is
So it's a residential unit in a residential neighborhood.
one unit.
It could be one unit. Yes, that's what the maximum build out potential is.
It's never gonna be affordable.
Well, none of these are.
But Carl, maybe the way to approach it, a good way to approach it could be, Carly, maybe a good way to approach it, would it be, you've already identified 7 of them, right?
Yes.
We want to take off the table 37th Street. What was the next one was in line?
Robin.
Based on your evaluation.
Yes, there was the one on Robin Lane.
And 231st, that's it.
Yes.
Just pick,
That's those three.
Doesn't Robin Lane have storm sewer?
I think it does. That's what it looks like to me. That's the location. No.
This one.
So what is our goal here? Let me just ask that.
Follow the government.
To pass a resolution and to post the list on the website before October 1st.
Just because it goes on the list doesn't mean.
No.
Right, so on your memo, there's a bulleted section, and
We
that
have
outlines
$4 million for this piece of property.
if the properties are identified and declared as affordable housing opportunities, they may be used for affordable housing through long-term lease, requiring the development and maintenance of the affordable housing, offered for sale and proceeds used for purchase of the land of development of affordable housing, blah, 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 sold with a restriction that requires the development of the property as permanent affordable housing, or donated to a nonprofit housing organization for the construction of permanent affordable housing. Alternatively, the municipality may otherwise make their property available for use for the production and preservation of permanent affordable housing. You can do whatever you want.
So we're not surplusing, we're literally saying, here's our 3, they're not really for sale, but here they are.
Yeah.
Right, you
Yeah.
may do this in the future, it's a list so developers can look at it, and if they're interested, give you a call, exactly.
But we don't have to sell them, we don't have to.
You don't have to answer the phone call.
You don't have to.
leave the
So-
7 as it is.
Yeah.
305 Roman Lane,
Okay.
109 31st Street, and 105 31st Street.
So you change the last 3.
Yeah, I'm just putting them on there as a possible, going through the motions, making DeSantis happy. Okay, so, do we want to approve putting these 3 properties on the list for our resolution with local act?
You ready for a motion?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
I would make a motion to approve Resolution 23-10, listing the 3 properties that we just identified, 305 Robin Lane and the 2 on 31st Street as our available properties.
I second it.
Okay. So, I think we can call the roll.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Rowley?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
We don't have to give a reason about the other ones. You know.
Good. Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to our ordinance 817, the increase water and sewer rate for FY24. This is our second reading. Do I have a motion to read ordinance 817 by title only?
A motion to read 817 by title only.
I'll second it.
Tammy, call the roll.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Willie?
Yes.
We'll read the ordinance 817.
Ordinance 817, an ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending ordinance number 799, adjusting the current rates to be charged for the use of municipal water sewer system for the service inside and outside the city limits of Mexico Beach, allowing for senior citizens discounts and vacant lot rates, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
Any open public discussion? Close public discussion at the table. No discussion, ma'am. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion increasing the City of Mexico Beach water and sewer rates for fiscal year '24.
I'll second it.
Okay, Tammy, call the roll.
Mr. Willie?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Final agenda item is ordinance 818, increased sanitation rates for FY24, second reading. May I have a motion for reading by ordinance 818 by title only?
I'll make a motion to read ordinance 818 by title only.
Second.
Okay, Tammy, call roll.
Okay. Mr. Willie?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Public? Open. Oh, yeah. Yes, you may read.
Ordinance 818, an ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending ordinance number 800, adjusting the current rates to be charged for the use of municipal sanitation system, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
All right. Open public discussion. Close public discussion at the table or a motion.
Make a motion increasing the City of Mexico Beach sanitation rates for fiscal '24.
Do I have a second?
Second. It's ordinance 818.
Motion to approve ordinance.
All right.
I'll second it.
Okay. Call roll.
Okay, Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Willie?
Yes.
Okay. Staff report. Chris, do we have?
Just a couple of things real quick. The mayor and I, one of the biggest questions we get at City Hall or around town is about the pier. Obviously, the hurricane hit 5 years ago, and we still haven't started on the pier, but the mayor and I, and along with Atkins, met with FEMA representatives and someone from the state of Florida with their emergency management to discuss the pier. FEMA is at the point now where they're even tired of the pier being drug out so long, and they're ready to move forward. So I think you're going to see some progress here in the very near future when it comes to the pier and getting that started to be built back. Other than that, the only other thing is, last meeting I mentioned the Kentucky-Florida football game, 11 o'clock Saturday. If you want to come hang out with the employees, get to know them outside of work, you're all more than welcome.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
I wanted to ask Chris, where are we on possibly hiring an accounting firm that was previously discussed?
The accounting firm RFQ has gone out, and we're waiting to hear back from firms who may be interested. Right now, I don't believe we've got very many who have sent in their qualifications. As far as an individual bookkeeper, we've started doing some background searches on the applicants that we have received.
Okay. Once we as a council had discussed an accounting firm.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would be our preference, I believe. So do we have a time limit on that, or do you want to try to make that an important issue to happen soon?
Well, I mean, it's a very important issue. It's not important to anybody more than it is me and the staff at City Hall who are having to pick up the slack, especially with the state audit that's getting ready to come up, as well as the 2 annual audits that need to be completed here in the very near future. One of the previous meetings, we discussed, and you may have been out because of your shoulder injury, but we discussed both hiring a bookkeeper and hiring a firm. Really, it's just going to be a cost issue, and we need the manpower during the audit process.
I didn't even know a bookkeeper was up for an option. It just seems like an accounting firm with a CPA at this point in the progress of the city, as much as we're growing, would be really something required.
Well, whenever we get into the qualifications, I'll present it to the council.
Do we have any citizen comments on that? Can you? No, okay.
So,
We did talk about this at the last meeting, didn't we?
well, I don't think that we've ever, I went back and looked honestly, and we didn't direct Chris to hire anyone. We talked, he made his need known to us, and we went back and was talking about the audit. It wasn't specifically about hiring. And I went back and looked, and we also, the council had, before Ms. Lucas, had said that the accountant would be under the city council. So now I'm hearing that Chris is hiring and has applications, and I've looked at some of them with him. So I need clarification on, are we staying with the city council, having oversight of the accountant? Are we hiring a bookkeeper? Are we hiring a CPA? And we never, to my knowledge, we never voted to change that.
Why are we looking at applications then?
Well, that was my question when I seen applications on the.
Excuse me, I'm recalling the conversation when we decided, Ms. Lucas, that we were not going to have Ms. Lucas, and then we discussed the fact that you had suggested an accounting firm, and that might be the best option, because then they can present us with an accountant. If it doesn't work out, they can present another one. We don't have to pay the benefits for a private accountant, because it's a firm, and that would give us more options. And I think that's very important that we stress that, and that if we need to go into more avenues to find that out. I don't know how you're applying, asking for people to apply for that job. How is that?
I have some concerns. I mean, we advertise and we've received resumes in for individuals.
And how are we advertising that, Chris?
It goes on the city's website. It also goes out to the Florida League of Cities. Florida League of Cities distributes it nationwide. It's picked up by other companies that advertise it. My concern is,
I have a question that you might be getting ready to answer. Who directed this to be posted and be moved forward?
on one hand, you can't complain that audits haven't been done, and then on the other hand, question why we're advertising for people who are qualified to come in and do an audit. So we either want to do the audits or we don't want to do the audits. Right now, at the city, we have the requirement to do the audits.
Where are we at with the audit?
Well, we're working on it, we're compiling information, and we're getting everything ready to send to the auditors.
All right, so again, can you tell me who directed you to post, when we had already, in this council had voted that that accountant would be under the council? When Ms. Lucas left, I don't think that we voted to make any changes. So where did the direction to
I believe if you go back and you look at the minutes for the meeting, one of the meetings when Michael Manning was here, Mayor, you commented that the bookkeeper would respond and be accountable to the city administrator. Now, if the council doesn't want that, then that's fine with me. I prefer not to deal with the money, but we have a job to do, and that's to get the audits done for the city. Like I said, on one hand, you can't say that, complain about audits not being done, and on the second hand, complain because we're hiring somebody who's capable of doing the audits.
So I think back in, she came in June, I think back in August, we directed, I think it was when Michael was here, I'm sorry, Chris. I think it was when Michael was here, we directed Michael to go and get the RFQs out for the firm that all of us had discussed. And the RFQ never went out. I kept asking, and I kept getting nowhere. And suddenly we're hiring somebody, and our RFQs are out for this now, but at the same time, to my knowledge, and if anybody at the table had directed,
yeah, I'd like to say something about that, because I don't think we should chastise the city administrator for trying to move forward, but I don't think we are. But we need to remember the conversation. Maybe it is smart that we go back and maybe look at the tape.
I do.
Because I agree with Mrs. Hamilton. That's what we agreed as a council, is to hire a firm. There was conversation at this table between you and Mr. Weldy about hiring an independent. And I think Chris got involved in that conversation, but there was never anything solid that said do it.
And there was conversation about being both.
I think with
Right.
all of us were,
Yeah.
I mean, he brought it up, we were talking about the audits, that's what I went back and looked, we were talking about the audits. He brought up the fact that, you know, we needed to move forward, we needed to get this, you know, stuff done, and he talked about the bookkeeper, and then we went immediately back to our audit. No direction was provided.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it might have been maybe a little decisiveness on our side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that-
at the same time,
Maybe we need to give direction now of what we want to have.
Correct.
And isn't there a difference
So-
between a bookkeeper and an
Yes.
official accountant?
there's a big difference, and our actual job description that's out there does say that this person has to have a degree, a bachelor's degree specifically. And when you look at accounting, there's several different types of bachelor's degrees. So it makes a big difference whether they have this type of bachelor's degree or that type of bachelor's degree when it comes to accounting. There is a accounting degree that just says bookkeeper, but their specifications are so different than someone who needs to have the kind of knowledge I think that we need as a city. We don't just, well, I'll put it this way. Panama City has 4 CPAs. I think if we put out for a CPA, one of them might say, whoo, I think I'll go further to be the director of finance, and I'm a CPA. So I don't think I don't think that we couldn't get a CPA if we chose as a council to do a CPA. Which the knowledge base is a whole lot different.
Are you talking doing that single, just one CPA here and that's it?
Well, I think we need to discuss that as a council. Do we want a CPA that's going to be the director? Or do we want a firm? Or do we want a director here full-time, like we talked about? And then just, I think Mr. Welly said before, we just had a firm that helped kind of get things to where they needed to be, and then we didn't need to use them. Those more hourly rates.
Yeah, I don't think we've done our homework to try to look at a firm. I believe that's the right way to go. I believe Ms. Hamilton, as far as her statement is, we lose one, we bring another one in. We lose one, we bring another one in. We lose one, we bring another one in. It's controlled by one company.
Yeah.
And there's success there. And we're a small city. And I believe we can do that. Obviously, we did it mobile for a long time, so there's no doubt in my mind we can do it locally. But if it's changing now, I guess we have to revote that. But
So are we wanting to direct the administrator to go out with an RFQ for an accounting firm? I mean, I think that's what we need to do, is give him the
I think
direction.
we got one out. Do we not have one out, Chris?
There's one out.
Yeah,
For a firm?
Firm.
Yes.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, there's RFQ out for a firm as well as the job posting for an individual.
We did both and just to see what we got. Okay.
Council discretion.
Okay.
And so how many do you have thus far?
As far as
People that are applying for that job?
individual bookkeepers, we probably have approximately 10.
Okay, what about accounting firms?
Do we have any?
It doesn't close until the 16th. It closes October 16th, so we don't have anything yet.
And
That's when they're due.
I don't know if you've gotten any applications in since you and I sat down and they were on your desk and I asked to see a copy of those. There were 4 in there that actually had an education. One of them was the guy that we interviewed with Miss Lucas as well.
Fort St. Joe?
Fort St. Joe, he was in that. But there were 4 in that particular, that had the bachelor's degree. Now, what that degree was in, as far as counting, I don't know.
So do we discuss this again after this closes and see what we have?
I think we need to determine, being we did at this council, say that the council, this was going to be under the council. Now, we can determine now we don't want it under the council, that's fine, but it's something that we need to determine that and make that vote, if that's the way we want to go.
We've got 60 days from the end of the fiscal year to make all necessary budget adjustments to close out this fiscal year, the current fiscal year, 22 and 23. So keep that in mind.
And to be fair to this city, I believe that if it's gonna take till the 10th until we get the RFQs through, the hiring process and all that, is there something that we can do immediately to try to assist our city in getting things done?
We actually can just make a decision as a council. We could say, well, we're gonna talk to a accounting firm and just hire somebody at an hourly rate to come in and help us get to where we need to be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an RFQ accounting firm. I think it is an emergency. I personally would see it as an urgent situation that we could just say as a council, hey, we're gonna hire an accounting firm, come in here, help us get these audits ready, get things moving, and wait on our firm for the 16th.
Isn't the guy that we interviewed from Port St. Joe, isn't he, he's a local, obviously. He wasn't working, wasn't he?
I don't remember if he was working or not.
Was he doing something on the cave or
He was
something?
gonna be done like in 3
Was
weeks.
he independent or something along that line?
He was working for a
He was
rental
working for
company.
the,
Yes, yes.
I have a
yeah,
word.
yeah, that's right, he was.
Can we just be proactive ourselves and start calling accounting firms? Is there anything wrong
That's what I
with
would
doing
do.
that? And, you know, expressing
I asked
our
that last
interest?
time.
Let's
Yeah.
just do that.
So-
Why don't we do that?
I think we could do that and come back and get some, everybody.
Everybody do it. yeah.
Get it, bring them to the table, have them come in, we can discuss them as a group. I mean, and we could hire them on the spot, just like we had Debbie as a consultant for $75 an hour. We can have a accounting firm as a consultant for whatever whatever the rate is.
Just for my clarification, when you say everybody call the accounting firms, is everybody including the city council?
Yeah, and if the citizens have suggestions on names they want to give us for accounting firms, you know, we could be open to that as well, I think. You know, it's just, we need to be more proactive. If people aren't applying for the job, then we need to go out and say, hey, we need people, you know, come on.
I think
You know,
we're just
maybe-
hiring for a consultant, accounting firm as a consulting firm to get us going.
With the RFQ, we can't open, even if we have received anything from the RFQ, we can't open them until after
Until
the
close.
deadline on the 16th.
Yeah, till that
So even
closes.
if we do have something, we can't look to see who they
So-
are and what they're offering.
Yeah, and there's nothing to say that we get a accounting firm that this other accountant can't work together as a consultant still. I think it's the council's decision. And I agree, we need to do something. We're in,
So, okay, so at this point, do we want to make a motion that we be proactive and try to possibly go out and find some accounting firms?
do you have anything else?
Come up with a list on our own?
That's what I would,
Okay. So
make
we
him the
can,
center point, we'll just bring everything down.
Okay.
so I can entertain a motion
She's making that.
for,
So I'll make a motion that we, as a city council, be proactive in attempting to find an accounting firm to be able to be our accountant.
Second.
Tammy?
Mayor Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Hamilton.
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Welly.
I'm gonna abstain because I've worked as a subcontractor for a local accounting firm.
Just for clarification, please, I'm a little confused. What exactly are you going after with your vote?
A consultant,
A single person or a firm?
a consulting firm.
A consulting firm?
And, you know, also just, you know, there's people with Springbrook that sometimes consult as well. So-
Okay, but are we, when we're going to approach an accounting firm,
Yeah.
are we asking for, we want you to provide us with an accountant for our city? Is that what we're
Just
doing?
a
Or
service. They'll just, the firm is a service.
Okay, which
Yeah,
would be
and-
their services to provide an accountant for us, correct?
Accountant at an hourly rate,
Okay,
help us get going, see what happens from there.
Okay.
All right, so that's what everybody's gonna bring. Someone, most everybody's gonna bring someone to Chris, and we'll get him to set up, them to be here. We'll call a meeting, and we'll talk to them as a group, one at a time, like you would an interview, and then we can make a decision on who we're gonna consult, have a consultant. And I'd like to get that pretty quickly. So let's do a deadline on getting that to the council, or getting it to Chris.
If we have that resolved, is there any possibility that we can find an accountant to help them immediately? Somebody who just come in on an hourly rate?
Well, that's what
That's
we're
what we
doing.
can ask
Oh,
of the
that's
accountant
what
firm.
we're doing the firm.
The firm will be accountant that comes in at an hourly
Right,
rate.
I'm asking, is there somebody that we can call, say, hey, look, we need you, the same we did when we used Debbie for $75 an hour. Is it possible we can find another person in that area that can do that immediately?
That's what we were doing.
That's what we're hoping to
here
do through this accounting
with this.
firm.
Get a firm that brings us somebody that will do an hourly rate and get us going. That's exactly what we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, the RFQ is still out. When it comes back, we can come back with how we want to approach that. And some of this firm, whatever we get, may be a firm that's on that list as well when it comes to RFQ. So let's do a date. We want to have this to Chris and have them have the council talk with whoever, these 4 people.
What about 2 weeks? Would that be reasonable, Chris?
I say a week to get it in, and maybe 2 weeks to get it on our calendars. So that would put us at our next meeting.
Okay.
So
So we'll try to get the information to Chris to
by
be
the 3rd.
presented by the next meeting.
We'll get it to Chris by the 3rd and have them at our next meeting on the 10th. That sound reasonable? And we might want to have that as a special meeting just before our regular meeting, maybe at 5:01. Well, no, that's a daytime meeting, isn't it? Okay. We could do immediately after our regular meeting. What do you think?
Just have it in the regular meeting, we're gonna do it that day.
Well, we wouldn't want them all at the same time, as far as talking to us.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other ideas other than that? I mean, it's open, that's not stone, I'm just making a recommendation.
So it will be our responsibility to get accounting firms to present to Chris by the 3rd. And then we'll go from there with meetings. Is that correct?
We'll set that meeting up, like right at, say, noon on the same day that we have our regular meeting on the 10th.
If the council's gonna contact these accounting firms to see if they're interested in coming here and work for us, make sure that you inform them that we've requested a state audit, because that's labor intensive.
Yeah, we can talk to them.
They need to know what they're getting into before showing up thinking it's just a regular accounting job.
And that might be something we want to make sure that they've done state audits before, you know.
Do you think, Chris, maybe you could write up something for us to present to these accounting firms? This is what we would expect of you.
We have a list of duties
Okay.
that we can
And you
provide.
can present that to all of us.
Yes, ma'am, I can email it out tomorrow.
Right, that would be good.
All right.
Mr. Jimmy, did you have anything?
Yes, I want to thank the lieutenant for going to Perry, Florida, to the hurricane to cook for all these people, and the sheriff's office, Bay County. Lieutenant, he got a food I appreciate it.
You have anything?
I had one beforehand and now I have 2. The first one is you touched on it, the Auditor General. Did you say we've requested the letters or they've agreed to give them to us?
I have requested the letters. I put those in writing, wrote a letter to each of them, sent it certified mail, and they should have had it.
Knock on wood that one of them writes a letter so we don't have to pay for it.
Can we get a copy of those letters, City Hall, please?
And then the other one was regarding the Phase 2 plat from earlier, and this is just a thought for us to think of down the road. It sounded to me that we don't like our rules. So I would say we implore the P and Z to develop a rule regarding beach parking, because we don't have one. So I think we should put that on the agenda at some point, to task them with drafting a change to our rules. Because if we don't like our rules, let's change our rules. That's all.
And would that come as an ordinance in our ODC?
Some form of recommendation of what that we want them to create for us, because I'm pretty black and white, and the reason I voted no is because it follows our rules. But if we don't like our rules, let's change them. That's all.
Would that be P and Z or Charter Committee?
P and Z.
P&Z. All right, anything else, Mr. Wood?
The only thing I have is Farmdale. That's another issue. I mean, it's been a month since we talked about Farmdale, and I haven't heard anything, so
Well,
I don't know what we're doing.
last week, well, it was me and Mike that talked to Farmdale. You didn't talk to Farmdale. You were meeting with somebody else. Yeah, I remember that day.
Met with the engineer and
I don't remember. No, you were meeting with Sweetwater that day, so, yeah. I hadn't heard from Farmdale either.
Based on Mike Clint's last conversation, their attorney is supposed to be reworking the development agreement to resubmit to the city, and that's what we're standing by waiting on at this moment.
So it's in their court.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any of the numbers of cost of what it would cost us to annex and not annex? We talked about that.
We talked about it, but I haven't compiled those. I'll have it next meeting.
And the only thing that happened in the meeting when Michael and I think Clint was in there, was, and I've talked about it, I think that we need to ask them to annex the whole thing. As well as provide that 4,200 foot height. I think I met with Chris, you were there, Chris and Mr. Davis. And Mr. Davis made some very good points of the benefit to the city of getting that pipe put in. So, and I don't know that anybody has talked to Farmville about our discussions.
they expressed that they had kind of a problem with the 4,200 foot pipe. And you heard,
Might have a problem with
and you heard Mr., I'm just telling you what they said.
Yeah, I know, but they need to.
I'm not taking a
talk
side,
to us.
obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not making a pizza side.
The attorney's talking with you,
He's-
bringing another proposal.
He was going to write up a proposal to
Okay.
bring back to the board.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we'll wait on that proposal. All right, anything else? Our next meeting, October 10th, at 9 a.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.